All right, welcome back, True Seeker. It is President's Day. This year it falls on February 20th, 2023. And the surprise story, Biden announced that he would be in Poland on February 22nd, which will be 1 year to the day of him giving his speech at 2:22 p.m. local time on 2/22 about what was going on with Russia and Ukraine. And you might recall before that date came around, we predicted why that would be the day that Russia-Ukraine would pop off by the numbers, the order out of chaos code, and there was also a special astrological alignment with Pluto. But anyhow, he announced a year to the day he would be in Poland, which has been a big focus the whole time. Again, while we have rumors of World War III, and remember, World War II started when Hitler went into Poland. But here we are the day before, and the surprise visit is to Ukraine. And you can see in that subheadline, it says, a few hours before Biden departed for Ukraine, the U.S. informed Russia of the visit for deconfliction purposes, National Security Advisor says. Now, again, like I've been explaining the whole time, all of these nations are cooperating. It's a planned and organized ritual. It goes back to that phrase that so many politicians across the world have uttered over several decades, New World Order. And again, this entire ritual, and that's what it is, it's one big giant ritual with all these nations participating. It's making a lot of money for certain people, and it's helping bring Agenda 2030 into place. Part of Agenda 2030 is they want energy costs to be a lot more expensive because then people will consume less things that create carbon emissions. Again, all of this is a big planned ritual, and you have to know who's pulling the strings. Again, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt May 1st, 1776. By knowing their Kabbalistic code of Gematria, you can see through every last ritual they do. And you can see how this truly is the work of the Illuminati, one ritual after the next. And to make that point very clear, notice today is Biden's 93rd day of his age. Who's he meeting with? Giving a big hug to? Volodymyr Zelensky, whose name equals 93. And remember how special these numbers are. Notice how in Gematria, order of Illuminati equals 93 in the same cipher. If you're new here, that cipher is just taking the alphabetic order and using numerology. So for example, V's worth 4 because V's the 22nd letter of the alphabet. The numerology of 22 is 2 plus 2 is 4. O is the 15th letter. The numerology of 15 is 1 plus 5 is 6. L's the 12th letter. 1 plus 2 is 3. So on. You add up the letters as numbers. You get a value. Volodymyr Zelensky, 93. Order of Illuminati, 93. If you just take the alphabetic order and don't use numerology, order of Illuminati is 201. And remember, there's been so many rituals with both of these numbers for all of this. And it really started with the actor in the church shootout scene killing the Ukrainian woman. I'm talking about the guy who portrayed Donald Trump for so long, Alec Baldwin. Remember, Alec Baldwin's born on the 93rd day of the year, and he shot the Ukrainian woman right before Russia-Ukraine in the church shootout scene, where this is all synced with the Pope in the church, 201 days after his birthday. And even prior to that, when Biden was at the European Union, which equals 201, just like the Jesuit order equals 201, who founded the Illuminati, it was 201 days after Biden's birthday that he threatened Putin and said, "Don't you dare invade Ukraine." And then they met later that year on the 201st day of the Jesuit Ignatian year, the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year, named after Ignatius of Loyola, their founder, whose name equals 201. But they met 201 days after that calendar year started on Pearl Harbor Day of all days, with all the rumors of war and World War parallels. And shortly after that, Russia-Ukraine unfolded. And then it was a year to the day, again 201 days after Biden's birthday, that we got the headline that Russia had fully taken over the Donbass region, which is the most strategic region in the Ukraine, and Donbass region equals 201. But 20193, the numbers of the Illuminati. And consider that the Illuminati, what illuminates things, the sun, they say the sun's 93 million miles away. Again, all this stuff goes back to the 16th century. The agreed to, again, this entire code goes back to the 16th century where the Jesuits came into being. And again, if you're new here, Gematria is the alphabetic order with numerology. It's also running the alphabetic order in reverse and running it in reverse numerology. And notice the emphasized phrase up here, deconfliction purposes. That phrase has gematria of 258 and 105. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, order of Illuminati is also 258 and 105. And, some of their favorite puppets, like Bill Gates, whose full name is William Henry Gates, has a lot in common with that. And let's not forget, he recently separated from Melinda, who's from a family of Jesuit priests. And anyhow, day after day, we're also talking about how the numbers 27 and 45 come together. Again, if you're new here, ritual equals 27 and 45. Donald Trump declared the 45th president-elect on the 27-year anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. He's a good little Jesuit. The whole thing they just did with Nicola Bulli at age 45 on the 27th of the month on the 45-year anniversary of the disappearance of another person on that same day in that same spot. But 2745. So today is Zelensky's 27th day of being 45 years old. And today's also Putin's 137th day of his age, and he's making room for the man from Washington, D.C. to come over here. But, just think about that. This is supposedly a real war. Well, why would Russia be cooperating with the U.S., who is the main nation training and sponsoring and funding Ukraine's defense? In a real war, it's like, well, why would they give courtesies to the U.S.? Oh, we're going to back down so Biden can fly in today for a surprise President's Day visit. Just another obvious ritual. And keep in mind, this year the date is written 20/2, like 202. DC is the 202 area code. Skull and Bones equals 202, a powerful secret society that puts a lot of people in the Oval Office and high places in DC, in corporate CEO positions. Again, Skull and Bones is modeled after, they get their symbolism from how the Knights Templar buried their dead. Of course, the Templars are the old military order of the Catholic Church, where the Jesuits are the current. That's why the Jesuit logo has the Templar cross in it. But there is also that parallel with today. And again, just what a joke, right? How do you think the people in East Palestine feel as they see Biden hugging it out with former actor Zelensky in Ukraine while, their town is getting shunned by the federal government? Sorry, you're too small. You're only 5,000 people. We're not that worried about you. 5,000 Americans, who cares? Flying over across the world to visit Zelensky and co. And again, with regards to East Palestine, Ohio, don't forget, East Palestine, Ohio is 266 and happened on the 266th day of Israel's age, which of course was taken out of Palestine, which is spelled the same way. And if you're new here, the Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, is 266, and that's why Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope in the 266th in the history of the church. And again, forwards and backwards, Pope Francis 122, also like the motto, 274, like how long the Catholic Church has celebrated the Son's birthday on Christmas Day since 274 AD. But yeah, another ritual by the numbers. And also for this President's Day weekend, it's been 46 years since Jimmy Carter became president in 77. And of course, we are in the time of number 46. Again, Joe Biden, who sacrificed Bo at age 46, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. Again, if you're new here, Pope Francis' birth name is Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 201. The first Pope to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican, which has a name called the Domus Sanctae Martyr, which is also 201. But Bo Biden dead at 46, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. And again, the election exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, where Biden became number 46. Catholic equals 46. JFK, the other Catholic president, dead at 46. But anyway, here we are. 46 years since Jimmy Carter became president, and now he's on his deathbed. And you know what's really weird? When I did the stream on February 18th, it was in the back of my mind while I was talking about all the kill dates. I almost brought up Jimmy Carter because we know his time's new. And I woke up that day thinking about Jimmy Carter. It was later that day where Jimmy Carter appeared in the news in hospice care. I was probably thinking about him because it was President's Day weekend. And again, we said he'd go in the time of Biden because he has all the parallels to Biden, right? Biden carried Georgia by the numbers. If you didn't know this, the day that Georgia was called for Joe Biden, see how Joe Biden's 44? Joe Biden's also 152, like how his first year in office, President's Day, fell on the 15th day of the second month. Go figure. But Joe Biden's 44 like Georgia. When Georgia was called for Joe Biden, it was Jimmy Carter's 44th day of his age, and we predicted why it would be called for Georgia or for Biden on that day based on that, looking in advance. But since then, they've drawn all these parallels because, they said what happened in Afghanistan where the government collapsed on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th. They said that was the biggest failure in U.S. foreign policy history since Jimmy Carter's 444-day Iranian hostage crisis, which ended the first day the good Catholic Ronald Reagan took office, who died in a big Jesuit ritual on June 5th. 5-6, like Society of Jesus is 56, like Ronald Reagan's 56, like Washington, D.C.'s 56. But, this is 46 years since Jimmy Carter became president, which makes so much sense in the time of number 46. And then just reporting this at, again, President's Day weekend, we're hearing about the former president, the longest living president in U.S. history. Again, the ritualism of it all. So a lot of headlines are saying he's in his final days, so that makes it seem like his death is imminent. And again, we are just days away from George Washington's birthday. If he is days away from dying, as headlines are saying, you got from the Sun to the Washington Post saying he's in his final days. An interesting thing about the phrase final days, which the Sun indicated, is final days, has Gematria 152 like Joe Biden, but it also has that 53. Also has 37 like Georgia, but 53, the 53rd day of the year is George Washington's birthday. And if Jimmy Carter died on George Washington's birthday, he would die 144 days after his birthday. In the time of President Biden, we know President Biden's 144, just like Jesuit order. Again, when you throw the in front of that, and you get the 201. Both numbers very important. By the way, Jimmy Carter's full name equals 177, also like the Jesuit order. But George Washington's birthday is 144 days after Jimmy Carter's birthday. Again, Jesuit order and President Biden are both 144. Jesuit Georgetown, again, simulated the election on June 12, 2020, saying that Biden would win. You can look it up. It's called the Transition Integrity Project. They also said Donald Trump would refuse to step down, which would lead to deadly violence and chaos in America. Hello, staged Capitol insurrection, which came 201 days after the only Confederate statue in D.C. fell, of Albert Pike, whose letter about 3 world wars was published on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15, 1871. But keep in mind, Confederates also got that 201, like how the flag flew. But with regards to the 144 thing, don't forget the United States of America's 144. So if he kicks the bucket on George Washington's birthday, 144 days after his own birthday, which is October 1st. And maybe there's also something about that final days, because Jimmy Carter's birthday is the day leaving 91 days left in the year. But if he survived one more day, if he survived until February 23rd, that's the 54th day of the year. And notice how Jimmy Carter's 54 and 72, just like Jesuit order. So again, if he is in his final days, I think those are likely days that we get the headline that is his obituary. And then also adding to that, why either of those days could make sense, it's another familiar Jesuit number. February 23rd is 95 days after Joe Biden's birthday, which means the day before George Washington's birthday is Joe Biden's 95th day of his age. And again, the Jesuits in 95. They were recognized by Rome on the day, leaving 95 days left in the year to counter the 95 Theses. And don't forget, at the end of last year, on the last day of the Gregorian year, named after a pope, the German pope died at age 95 in the time of the first Jesuit pope, when again the Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses written by Martin Luther out of Germany. But the 95 also fits in with President Carter because his name has Gematria 95. And realize Carter was elected in 76, right? Took office in 77. So President Carter elected in 76 might end up dead in connection to the current President Biden, number 46. Again, Catholic 46. If he died on February 23rd, he'd die 145 days after his birthday. That could fit as well. Just the whole Catholic 145 thing. I suppose if he died on George Washington's birthday, it would be 144 days after his birthday, but also his 145th day of his age. Again, remember, there's 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament and 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. And the Jesuits, who are responsible for the language and the calendar and syncing up all these rituals, they were the Catholic-Jewish Alliance in the time of the Protestant Reformation. Of course, Catholics also 35, like JFK, number 35, dead at 46. And again, Israel, the Jewish nation, created on 14/5, and then David Ben-Gurion, whose name is 145, who died in history 201 days after the anniversary of Israel's establishment. State of Israel, 201, 84, just like the Jesuit order, 150 like Illuminati, 51 like Adam Weishaupt, who was Jewish, who have founded the Illuminati, who was also a Jesuit on May 1st. And Adam Weishaupt died 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment. So if Jimmy Carter is truly in his final days, wouldn't be surprised, again, if it's George Washington's birthday or the day after, February 23rd, which will be the anniversary of Tiger Woods being in the car crash that nobody saw. Again, that was the 54th day of the year. Notice how his name's 54 forwards and backwards. Wears red and black on Sunday like Jesuits. But for more familiar numbers, you have the assassination of a Catholic bishop, David O'Connell, in Los Angeles, whose legacy is tied to helping settle down people in the LA area after the Rodney King riots. So he's connected to Black History, and now he's dead in Black History Month. And again, his title, Catholic Bishop David O'Connell. Notice the 144, right? 144. And his name, David O'Connell, has the 58 like Pope Francis, 130 like human sacrifice, 68 like Catholicism, also like Catholic bishop. So, I mean, it couldn't be more perfectly named for a Catholic bishop. But here's all the things that stand out. They're saying he was murdered on Saturday, February 18th, 218. Again, we talk about this all the time. Holy Roman Empire number. Holy Roman Empire 218. They say it folded August 6th, 1806, the 218th day of the year. He died on a 63-date numerology, 63 days after Pope Francis's birthday. He's from Ireland. Ireland, 63. You might have noticed, I'll type it up one more time. Catholic Bishop David O'Connell. You might have noticed his name is also 126. Notice how Ireland, when you run it in reverse, has the 126. In the article, it said he was a bishop for a priest for 45 years. So Ireland 45, Ireland 63, dead 63 days after the Pope's birthday on 63-date numerology. Ireland also corresponds with his name, Gematria. LA in 126, might remind you of Kobe Bryant's death. And the other big 63 piece, his legacy, trying to settle down the riots after the racist verdict acquitting the officers who beat up Rodney King by the numbers. And don't forget, Rodney King in Gematria equals 59. Just like slave, just like Negro, like blues, like Rasta, like Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year, except for in non-leap years, February 28th. And the other thing is, again, you read the article about him, his legacy's connected to settling down the violence after the April 29th, 92 verdict. His death was 70 days before the anniversary. He died on February 18th here, just so you can see this. February 18th, 2023 to April 29th, 2023, the anniversary of the riots. 70 days, right? And April 29th is the 119th day of the year. 119th day of the year. It's also the day leaving 246 days left in the year. The country is 246 years old right now. And for the record, before I even get to the point about 70 and 119, No's Catholic Church is 246. That's how old the country is right now, at the time of this suspicious Catholic death. But notice how Vatican is 70 forwards, 119 in reverse. He's dead 70 days before the 119th day of the year, the day that his legacy is largely connected to in LA. And then at the same time, Francis is 70 and 119. And again, from Ireland, dead on 63 date numerology, 63 days after the Pope's birthday. You could also say dead on the Pope's 64th day of his age. Number connected to killing. But again, it's a reminder of what's going on in the nation, who the rituals are centered around, and yeah, so just for some more fun, the Daytona 500. Every year it has a clear parallel to the Super Bowl, and this year the Super Bowl was on 2/12, right? The date February 12th. This year it was 212 laps. Let me see if I can get this up here so you can see this. 212 laps this year. 212 lap race after the Super Bowl on 2/12, and the guy who won it, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Of course, the big death in the news was the comedian whose name is also Richard or Ricky. But notice the gematria, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 212, right? Shout out to the gentleman who put $3 on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and won $100. Again, I thought there was another driver with a better parallel to the Super Bowl. But every year, they're always choosing numbers in the race that correspond with the Super Bowl. And they've done it again. This guy had really long odds. That's why $3 paid $100. So congrats to that guy. We did identify that Ricky Stenhouse did have that 212. He was not my favorite narrative. But again, another year, another point proven. The Super Bowl and Daytona 500. Year after year, you'll see how they do the same numbers in both events. And it is proof that it is all rigged and scripted. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 212, in the 212th lap. And there was something about the first... Hold on. There was a tribute to Black History Month, too, because Brad Daugherty, the former NBA player, first black owner to win. So we can look at this real quick. And remember, we just had the first Super Bowl, right? On Lincoln's birthday, who freed the slaves. And the first Super Bowl between two black quarterbacks. And the tradition stayed alive where only black quarterbacks on Native American teams can win the Super Bowl. But yeah, let me see. Or is it Brad Daugherty? I saw this name Daugherty, and I assumed the only Daugherty I know is... Yeah, it is Brad Daugherty. Brad Daugherty, who used to play in the first black team owner to win NASCAR's Daytona 500. Here, I haven't even looked at Brad Daugherty. Let's check it out. Interesting. Double 134 connection. Let's see how many days it was from Brad Daugherty's birthday. Brad Daugherty. He's 57 years old right now. Okay, he's 57. He was born in 65. This was the 65th Daytona 500. Okay, so there's another Super Bowl number, right? Super Bowl 57. Born October 19th. So that's the day leaving 73 days left in the year. So that means the race, which was on the 50th day of the year, was 123 days after his birthday. Call that the conspiracy number. Conspiracy's 123. Here, let's see. Yeah, his name's not really screaming out to me in light of the race, but the age is him being 57, and then his driver 212, Super Bowl 57 on 212. He's from Black Mountain, North Carolina. How about that? So, something else. But yeah, everything's rigged, everything's ritual, everything's symbolic, everything pays tribute to history, all the things I've been teaching for all these decades that just prove themselves in spades year after year. The lemming will go, yeah, but you didn't call it right. You didn't call the right driver. It's like, yeah, but the point is, for all the people that invest all their time and energy in thinking this stuff's real in a competition, understand it's not. It's a ritual. It's a ritual. Stop investing your time and energy in their rituals that are meant to manipulate you. So. Big Dookie and the Hooch are his nicknames. Interesting. I don't remember anyone calling him that when I was in the league, or when he was in the league. All right, let me see if there's any other headlines. Okay. Long lost letter hints at George Washington's financial struggles. Something tells me this is more contrived propaganda to help Americans relate. All the people struggling from all the planned agendas, blamed on things like killer germs and instigated wars that have made things so expensive and put people out of work. Now for all the Americans, who need a comfort story, they can go, oh man, George Washington was struggling too? Okay, let's see what they got here. A long lost letter from George Washington. If you guys have never seen the movie Wag the Dog, make a point to watch that movie. Again, it just shows how they insert things in the National Archive, how they just make up history, the things that you can do when you got access at the highest levels of government. A long lost letter from George Washington hints at the first president's financial woes, and it is expected to fetch $50,000 at auction. Well, nobody who's struggling right now is going to be buying that one. The Robb Collection, an auction house specializing in historical documents, announced the discovery of the letter in a news release Sunday. By the way, remember the Kobe Bryant jersey that just went for $5.8 million the other day? Kobe Bryant, 58. Los Angeles Lakers, 58. Kobe jersey, $5.8 million. Long lost George Washington letter, $50,000. That's 50,000 goes into a million 20 times. So the Kobe jersey is worth about 120 times as much as the long lost letter. Okay. The letter was previously unknown to scholars and was kept in a small private collection in rural West Virginia, according to the news release. In the 1787 letter, the early politician writes of his need to sell land and raise money. He began corresponding with Israel Shreve, a retired colonel, who wanted to use a form of credit to buy a 1,644-acre tract of land on the Hugohene River, I don't know how to say it, in western Pennsylvania, according to the Robb Collection. But the Robb Collection too, right? The Robb Collection. But Washington insisted on selling the land for cash. The land you mention is for sale, and I wish it was convenient for me to accommodate you with it for military certificates, but to raise money is the only inducement I have to sell it, Washington wrote. Where's the purchase price on these 1,644 acres? 1/4 of the money to be paid down, the other 3/4 in 3 annual payments with interest, he added. Washington wrote the letter just months before he would arrive in Philadelphia as chairman of the Constitutional Convention, which resulted in the creation of the American Constitution. He was inaugurated as the nation's first president 2 years later in 1789. For all the American dreamers, I was like, wait a minute, I got financial woes. Maybe I can be president in 2 years too. This powerful letter, coming as it does on the doorstep of one of Washington's great moments, gives us a glimpse into the financial stresses and concerns of Washington, a man we think of in mystic terms, but really had many of our own very human issues. There it is, said Nathan Robb, principal at the Robb Collection in the news release. Washington at one time owned as many as 70,000 acres of land across what is now 7 states. Man, it sounds like he was struggling. Who gave him these 70,000 acres? How did the natives feel at the time? They're like, man, this guy is entitled. According to the news release, his properties depended on the work of hundreds of enslaved people. Oh yeah, sounds like he was struggling. 70,000 acres. Lots of slaves. What kind of trash article is this, man? This is for people who only read headlines. From the Robb Collection. All right, let's see how Fox contrasts on President's Day. Parting message. The handwritten note Biden left President Zelensky during a surprise Ukraine trip. Hold on. It almost looks like the date says 2020 in the background. Doesn't look like much of a 3. And also, I did see this earlier. I mean, just another reminder that the NFL is no different than the WWE. All right, see it. Biden's message to Zelensky written in Ukraine, Royal Palace guest book. President Biden left a handwritten message for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky when he visited the Ukraine Royal Palace on Monday. Biden left the note in the palace guest book during his surprise visit to the capital of Kyiv. Biden says the city has captured a part of my heart. Imagine the people in East Palestine. They're like, didn't we capture part of your heart? I am honored to be welcomed again in Kyiv. I stand in solidarity and friendship with the freedom-loving people of Ukraine. Biden wrote. Same guy that's threatening to take away our rights and liberties. Mr. President, please accept my deepest respect for your courage and leadership. Slava Ukraini. Okay, must be their motto. Biden wrote the note during his 5-hour visit to the war-torn country on Monday. He used the visit to reaffirm his administration's commitment to supporting Ukraine against Russia's invasion for as long as it takes. So he wrote, I am honored to be... It's hard to read his writing. Something about again in Kyiv. I can't read this guy's writing. And Zelensky doesn't even speak English, so there's no way he read it. I do. For all of you guys who write handwritten letters, some people's letters are just come like to me that I just like. I'll spend like 20 minutes trying to read them. Like, I can't do it. I don't know what it says. But it is nice getting a handwritten letter. It's just like... Anyway. Zelensky's man of sweatshirts with that old trident. So, Biden pledged an additional $500 million in military assistance during the visit. What is the tab up to on Ukraine? And again, this comes in light of... Think about this. This comes in light of what Janet Yellen said on January 20th, the 201st day that the nation's age, that, you know, if we don't address the debt ceiling, everything could fall apart by June. And again, I'm wondering if we don't get the update to that on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. But in a time where we should be reducing spending and, you know, addressing that to avoid a greater financial collapse, instead of doing that on President's Day, hey, we're out giving even more money to Ukraine. We're out escalating the problem. And at a time when we just told an American city that, sorry, you know, we can't afford federal funds for you. Sorry, East Palestine. No funds for you, but plenty of funds for Ukraine. Another $500 million. And again, I mean, how do they pay for the bills? I mean, thieving from the American public, making the American worker pay the taxes. So, what a sick joke. Let's see how MSNBC carries it today. They're focused on George W. Bush on President's Day. Okay. And more often than not, when I look at the BBC, their news is focused on us rather than their own country. Okay. And actually, let me take that back. The BBC is more focused on their country, which is also the United States of America. We never got free. That's the whole joke of 7-4. London, free. Masonic, it's all 74. Independence Day. Let's check out some other news networks. What do they got going on President's Day? U.S. told Russia Biden surprise trip to Ukraine just before he arrived. Yeah. Again, showing the perfect cooperation between nations. Where supposedly we're essentially in a proxy war with Russia because we're funding Ukraine's military to fight Russia. Why would you ever cooperate? Let's see. NB Capital. Okay. And by the way, the new recent spelling of Kyiv, the capital. Kyiv, Ukraine. It's got that 56 like Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., which is an independent city-state ruling over the rest of the United States of America, for people who don't know. Don't forget there's 3 independent city-states, that relationship with 3 and 56, like how there's 3 stars on the D.C. flag. CBS. Biden visits Ukraine and show of support nearly a year into Russia's war. What's Al Jazeera got? Al Jazeera. Everyone's got the same news. What else is new? Another earthquake in Turkey. On President's Day. Interesting. You know, the thing about an earthquake hitting Turkey today is, remember how we were talking about the whole parallel with Philadelphia? Today's date numerology is 65. Again, biblical Philadelphia is in modern-day Turkey. So, remember, it happened during the 65th Grammys, the one that's been in the news since that day. So now on the 65 date numerology, another earthquake in Turkey. I'm sure it's just another coincidence. So, thank you, Rest in Gematria. Just put eyes on the chat. I appreciate the super chats. Do I think there are any clones? Well, again, they gave the news to us about Dolly the sheep, the first cloned mammal on the 53rd day of the year, and sheep's 53. And I was in middle school back then. And again, I was asking all my science teachers, I was saying, if they can clone a sheep, doesn't that mean they can clone any mammal? Doesn't that mean they can clone a human? And my teachers were uncertain. I said, I don't know, because it was such a new thing. But again, it was Dolly the sheep. I think that also equals 53. Yeah, Dolly the sheep, 53. Dolly the sheep, 53. Sheep, 53. 53rd day of the year news. Dolly the sheep, February 22nd. What year was it? 97. 97. So I was 14 years old then. All right. If only I knew gematria, then I could add all my teachers calling me schizophrenic. Now, Zach, what you're saying today sounds very schizophrenic. Just because the word equals 53 and it's the 53rd day of the year and the news like this every day just means it's a coincidence. Okay. Well, the new XFL is directly connected to the WWE, so I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably going to be just as scripted. My mom says, go read Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It is an interesting book. It doesn't name any names. Everything's vague, so anyone who's asleep is not going to be impressed by that book. But it does kind of give the tactics for what's going on in the world, so. Thank you, Sachette. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. So. All right, I think we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Looks like we've covered all the headlines this far, but it is early in the day out here. It's not even 10 a.m. on the West Coast, so if any other big news breaks, I'll be sure to cover it. And yeah, I think we're all up to date on everything else. So also just one other thing today with one other point that should be made about Joe Biden traveling to Ukraine today. We've seen the parallels with King Charles and Biden. Today, King Charles is meeting with Ukrainian troops, but he did not travel to Ukraine for this. The troops are in the UK. And again, just United Kingdom, right? United Kingdom 65 date numerology. What really is the United Kingdom? Is it just that island, or is it, many other things, including the U.S., pretty much all the Jesuit nations, since the Catholic Church has controlled the UK for a long time? And I would say that's definitely what it is. And another military order that has that whole 65 thing is the Knights Templar, which again connects to Skull and Bones, which goes with today's date, 202. DC, the 202 area code. But yeah, if you need the reminder of the most recent parallel with Biden and Charles, remember the killings in Moscow on King Road, the same day we got the news of the killings of the Cavaliers, where those who fought for King Charles were Cavaliers. Both of those stories broke on King Charles' birthday, November 14th. And then they arrested the Moscow killer 46 days later after the news broke, in Biden's hometown, Scranton, Pennsylvania, where The Office ran for 201 episodes. So, Charles and Biden both having their little rituals with Ukraine today. All right. Shout out to Ghost, who also chipped in 5. He said, peace and appreciation for all you do, Zach. Peace to the chat as well. Thank you, Ghost. Appreciate that. Did I say zip code? I meant area code. 202. Dialing code for DC. All right. All right. That's it for now, True Seeker. Have a great rest of your day. And if anything big happens, I'll be sure to be back. Oh, hold on. Somebody makes a good point. Tomorrow is another anniversary of a famous assassination. That's Malcolm X. So, will they pay tribute to Malcolm X tomorrow? You know what makes that extra interesting? Tomorrow will be the 58-year anniversary of his assassination, and let me see. There it is. The Audubon Ballroom. I always have trouble spelling Audubon correctly. But that does equal 58 in the most pure cipher. And so does Nation of Islam. Is assassination based on the Nation of Islam? And if you're new here, same with Secret Societies, 58. And Freemasonry's 58. And somebody's getting old. The Nation of Islam, founded July 4th, 1930. That's interesting. I didn't realize they were founded on July 4th. But they will turn 93 on July 4th this year as well. Malcolm X has that 93, like Black History Month. Technically, they're in their 93rd year of existence at the time of this anniversary. And again, if you don't know this, Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X only met one time in history, March 26, 64, a date with 93 numerology. Date that can be written 26/3, like 263, the 56th prime. Again, Black Lives Matter has that 56. Black Power has that 56. But yeah, that is interesting that tomorrow's the 58-year anniversary of his assassination. On Wikipedia, they call Louis Farrakhan a black supremacist. That's funny. He's also anti-white and an anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist, according to Google. Yeah, he's connected to Nation of Islam. I just got to check how things line up for him tomorrow. Hold on real quick. Tomorrow will be 79 days over his birthday. Yikes. Well, if I was Farrakhan, I might be a little bit more careful tomorrow. Again, Society of Jesus has that 56 as well as 79, like murder. But yeah, I won't be surprised if there is some kind of headline tomorrow that pays tribute to the anniversary of MLK's assassination. That's a good thought. So, okay. Thank you, Coney Bay, if I'm saying that right. Appreciate it. They say they appreciate the continuous work. All right. Appreciate it, Truth Slay. I got my eyes on the chat. I'm just making sure there's not any other good comments here. Mr. Tackpan says, got a mathematical thought. Interesting. Okay. Christopher Locke says, can I get a wrench? I'm actually thinking about taking away everybody's wrenches and just seeing what happens if we don't have any wrenches. I'm thinking about having a modless channel because at the end of the day, you can just moderate yourself. If somebody's comments annoying you, you can just click on their name and click block, and then you don't see their comments. It's just like every day I'm getting like emails. Zach, I got blocked today. Zach, I'm on Patreon and one of your mods blocked me, and then I'm like digging through the list and having to take 20 minutes to find their name in the list of blocked names. But then again, if we don't have mods, the trolls always overwhelm the channel. I could just make it so that the channel is members only. Imagine you won't have too many trolls signing up to be a member. Yeah, right. The Matrix says he likes that idea. Yeah, you can never make everyone happy. I'm sure somebody, if I take away their wrench, they'll be mad. But yeah, I am getting tired of just like people getting banned that probably should not be getting blocked. The Stella Stevens thing. Oh, I did do posts on it, but I didn't do a stream on it. Stella Stevens, dead at 84 on the 48th day of the year. She died 139 days after her 84th birthday. Interesting numbers because America's 139 and United States of America's 84 and Freemasonry's 139 and Masonry's 84. Her birth surname, Eggleston, also has that Gematria 139. Her stage name, Stella Stevens, had that 38 in it. But yeah, just dead at 84 on the 48th day of the year. 139 days from her birthday. That was, I'm sure if I would have looked into her films and stuff, I kind of did a lazy decode on this. So, Stella Stevens, and then you had that Pickler woman's husband commit suicide. And again, shout out to the person in the world who picked up the body. I actually knew about this news before the world did because the person who picked up the body sent me an email. Said, I got news before it's breaking. But I was like I said the other day, I was like, I'm not going to cover this because I don't want it to get traced back to that guy and him get in trouble. So I definitely didn't cover it before the news came out. But yeah, just we've seen so much 223 this year. Kelly Pickler, 223. He died on the 62 date numerology. Sacrifice, Faustian Bargain, both got that 62. And it was a date with lesser numerology. Again, Jeff Young's told us that, in his opinion, the most Masonic branch of music, or genre, if you will, is country music. And he died on the 17th, Mason 17, a date with lesser numerology of 42, Freemason 42, and a date with a full numerology of 62 like Mason. So, and dying at 49, Scottish is 49 as in the Scottish Rite. But and for the record, in Jewish Gematria, Masonic is 223, going with Kelly Pickler. But I didn't look too much into this one either. I don't know much about either celebrity. And yeah, it's just some celebrity deaths are a lot more interesting to people than others. And I got to be honest, I never even heard the name Kelly Pickler before I got that email. That's also when I read it, I was like, who's Kelly Pickler? Kelly Pickler's husband? I was like, who's that? That's a celebrity. So yeah. Oh yeah. And also, you guys, Jeff is on the road. Shout out to Frank the Truth Tank. Frank the Truth Tank was at the Kings of Thrash first concert in Illinois. I'm not sure if anybody from the community attended in Minneapolis. I know there were a lot of truth seekers. I met up with a lot of truth seekers when I went through Minneapolis. Madison, Wisconsin. That was yesterday. Today, he's in Indianapolis. If you want to support Jeff Young and the band, they're in Indianapolis today. Columbia, Missouri tomorrow. Columbus, Ohio the day after. Flint, Michigan after that. So, again, check out the Kings of Thrash website. Jeff Young's on tour. And yeah, but shout out to Frank for being at his first show. Frank brought some friends. All right. Anyhow, Holly Mae says, I hope you dance the country song. Has a very, that maybe that's one of her songs. Has a very sick music video with little boys in dresses dancing on a Masonic floor. Oh, wait. No, no, no. That song that's been out for 20 plus years, huh? Interesting. Mozart unbroken. Mozart's the big Freemason. If you didn't know that, Mozart's a Freemason. And let me see. I think his full name, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, his full name is 201 as well. Shout out to D26. D26 caught that. Mozart's full name 201. Donovan Burrell. Here's what I think. I think a lot of comments you leave, you should think twice about what you're writing before posting it. Do I think life is scripted? What does that even mean? God. I show how every day the stuff in the news media is scripted. Is your life scripted? Did somebody script your life? Did somebody script for you this morning to write, hey, Zach, do you think life is scripted? Because if the answer to that question is no, then you should have the answer yourself. There is such a thing as a dumb question. Anyway. Pickler was on American Idol too. Okay. Double overtime. Yeah, they did say that. They did say the race was double overtime. I didn't check the phrase on that. Double overtime. Yeah. 212, just like his name. 212 laps. 57-year-old Brad Doherty. Yeah, I just covered the Turkey earthquake. You must have just got here. Again, today has 65 date numerology. Philadelphia 65. Now they're saying it's 6.3. A minute ago when we looked at it, it said 6.4. Thanks, Carl. Glad you're getting the word out. You don't have to apologize, Donovan. Just be smarter before you write things. I mean, you might notice that you leave a lot of comments in my chat and I don't even respond to them. And the reason I'm not responding is because I'm just like, is this person even thinking about what they're writing or saying? Again, not to be mean, but as like real feedback, a lot of the worst comments left on my channel are coming from you. So. Again, such a soft marshmallow society. They're like, oh, that's so mean to say something like that. Well, to me, constructive criticism is necessary. So. All right, we will leave it there, True Seeker. And again, if anything else happens today, I'll be sure to cover it. For those of you guys who don't follow the website, again, GematriaEffect.news is where I post before I present. So that is the website where I try to keep up with everything. And I do post stuff on here that I never present. But we'll leave it there. Have a great day. Till next time.